Hare Krishna everyone, we are continuing to read Teachings of Lord Caitanya by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is chapter 28, Relationship with the Supreme Lord. In this age, there is no possibility of acquiring spiritual knowledge by discharging one's duties in the Varnashrama Dharma system, by devotional service mixed with fruitive activity, by renunciation, or by devotional service mixed with the culture of knowledge. Because most people are fallen, and because there is no time to elevate them by a gradual process, the best course, according to Lord Caitanya, is to let them remain in whatever condition they are in, but to engage them in hearing of the activities of the Supreme Lord as those activities are explained in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. The transcendental messages of the scriptures should be heard from the lips of realized souls. In this way, a person may continue to live in whatever condition he is in and still make spiritual progress. Thus one can surely advance and fully realize the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Jai, sounds inspiring, isn't it? Okay. Although Lord Caitanya accepted these principles, he still requested Ramananda Raya to further explain advanced devotional service. Thus, Lord Caitanya gave Ramananda Raya a chance to discuss gradual advancement from the principles of Varnashram Dharma, the 4 castes and the 4 orders of spiritual life, through the offering of the results of fruitive activity, and through the speculative discussion of spiritual knowledge. Lord Caitanya rejected all these because in the field of executing pure devotional service, there is very little use for such principles. Without self-realization, such artificial methods of devotional service cannot be accepted as pure devotional service. Self-realized, pure devotional service is completely different from all other kinds of transcendental activity. The highest stage of transcendental activity is always free from all material desires, fruitive efforts, and speculative attempts in knowledge. In the highest stage, one concentrates on the simple, favorable execution of pure devotional service. Ramananda Raya could understand the motive of Lord Caitanya, and therefore he stated that attainment of pure love of Godhead is the highest perfectional stage. In the Padyavali, there is a very nice verse, which is said to be composed by Ramananda Raya himself. The meaning of the verse is, quote, "As long as there is hunger in the belly, and one feels like eating and drinking, one can be happy by taking various edibles. Similarly, there may be much paraphernalia for worshipping the Supreme Lord, but only when that worship is mixed with pure love of Godhead does it become an actual source of transcendental happiness." Unquote. Another verse composed by Ramananda Raya states, quote, "Even after millions and millions of births of pious activities, one cannot achieve a sense of devotional service. But if somehow or other one desires to attain devotional service, the association of a pure devotee will make it possible. Thus, from any available source, one should try to acquire a strong desire to engage in devotional service. Unquote. In these two verses, Ramananda Raya has described the regulative principles and developed love of Godhead respectively. Lord Caitanya wanted to bring him to the stage of developed love of Godhead, and he wanted him to speak from that platform. Thus, the discussion between Ramananda Raya and Lord Caitanya will now proceed on the basis of love of Godhead. If love of Godhead is elevated to personal affinity, it is called Prema Bhakti. In the beginning of Prema Bhakti, a particular relationship between the Supreme Lord and the devotee is not established. But when Prema Bhakti develops, a relationship with the Supreme Lord is manifested in different transcendental flavors. The first stage is servitude, wherein the Supreme Lord is accepted as the Master and the devotee as his eternal servitor. When Lord Caitanya accepted this process, Ramananda Raya described the relationship between the servitor and the Master. He cited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 9.5.16, spoken by Durvasa Muni, a great mystic yogi who considered himself very elevated and envied Maharaja Ambarisha, who was known as the greatest devotee of the time. In an attempt to harass Maharaja Ambarisha, Durvasa Muni had met with a great catastrophe and been defeated by the Sudarshana Chakra of the Lord. Durvasa Muni admitted his fault and said, quote, "For pure devotees who are always engaged in transcendental loving service of the Lord, whose very name is sufficient for liberation, nothing is considered impossible." Unquote. In the Stotra Ratna 43, Yamunacharya writes, quote, "My Lord, those who keep themselves independent of your service are helpless. They work on their own accord and thus receive no support from superior authority. Therefore, I long for the time when I shall engage fully in your transcendental loving service, without any desire for material satisfaction and without hovering on the mental plane. Only when I engage in such unalloyed devotional service will I enjoy actual spiritual life." Unquote. Upon hearing the statement, the Lord requested Ramananda Raya to go still further. Chapter 29. Pure Love for Kṛṣṇa. Encouraged by Lord Caitanya to proceed further, Ramananda Raya said that the fraternal relationship with Lord Kṛṣṇa is a still higher transcendental position. The reason Ramananda Raya said this is because when the relationship with Kṛṣṇa increases in affection, the mood of fear and the consciousness of the superiority of the Supreme Lord diminish. At this point, the mood of faithfulness increases, and this faithfulness is called friendship. In this friendly relationship, there is a sense of equality between the Lord Kṛṣṇa, and his friends. In this regard, Ramananda Raya quoted a nice verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.12.11, which Shukadeva Goswami spoke while describing Lord Krishna's lunch with his friends in the forest. Lord Kṛṣṇa and his friends had gone to the forest with the cows to play. And it is said in this verse that the boys who accompanied Kṛṣṇa enjoyed transcendental friendship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is considered to be the impersonal Brahman by great sages, the Supreme Personality of Godhead by devotees in a mood of servitude, and an ordinary human being by common man. Lord Chaitanya appreciated this statement very much. Yet, still, he said, you can go even further. Being so requested, Ramananda Raya then stated that the parental affection, parental relationship with Kṛṣṇa is a still higher transcendental platform. When the friendly attitude toward Kṛṣṇa increases in affection, it develops into the relationship found between parents and their son. Regarding this, Ramananda Raya quoted a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.8.46, wherein Maharaja Parikshit inquired from Shukadeva Goswami about the magnitude of righteous activity performed by Yashoda, the mother of Kṛṣṇa, enabling her to be called mother by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and to have him suck her breasts. Then Ramananda quoted another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.9.20, in which it is stated that Yashoda, the wife of the cowherd Nanda, received such mercy from the Supreme Personality of Godhead that it is beyond comparison even to the mercy received by Brahma, the first created living being, or by Lord Shiva, or even by the goddess of fortune, Lakshmi, who is always situated on the chest of Lord Vishnu. Lord Chaitanya then asked Ramananda Raya to proceed further in order to come to the point of conjugal love. Understanding the mind of Lord Chaitanya, Ramananda Raya immediately answered that it was indeed conjugal love with Kṛṣṇa that constituted the highest relationship. In other words, one's intimate relationship with Kṛṣṇa develops from an ordinary conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the conception of master and servant. And when this becomes confidential, it develops into a friendly relationship. And when this relationship further develops, it becomes parental. And when this develops to the highest point of complete love and affection. It is known as conjugal love with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ramananda Raya then quoted another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.47.60, which states that the transcendental mode of ecstasy exhibited during the rasa dance between the gopis and Kṛṣṇa was never relished even by the goddess of fortune, who is always situated on the chest of the Lord in spiritual kingdom. And what to speak of the experience of ordinary women? Ramananda Raya then explained the gradual process by which pure love for Kṛṣṇa is developed. He pointed out that the relationship a living entity has with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in any of the modes of affection is just suitable for him. Still, there are higher and lower relationships. A relationship with the Supreme Lord begins with the master and servant relationship and further develops into friendship, parental love, and conjugal love. One who is situated in his particular relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in the best relationship for him. But when we study these different flavors of transcendental taste in relationship with the Supreme Lord, we can see that the neutral stage of realization, Brahma-bhuta, is the first stage, that the stage of accepting the Lord as master and oneself as his servant is better, that the conception of oneself as the Lord's friend is even more developed, that a parental relationship with the Lord is of a still higher, superior quality, and that conjugal love is the supreme relationship with the Lord. In other words, self-realization with a sense of servitude for the Lord is certainly transcendental. But when a sense of fraternity is added, the relationship develops. And as affection increases, this relationship develops into parenthood and conjugal love. Ramananda Raya then quoted a verse from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 2.5.38, stating that spiritual affection for the Supreme Lord is transcendental in all cases, but that the individual devotee has a specific aptitude for a particular relationship, which is more relishable for him than the others. Jai. We're going to continue tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The link to this book is in the description. Please check out our website shravanamdiaries.com, and we shall see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.